Hello and welcome to Everyman's Every Film, the show where we'll be sharing with you everything that we love about cinema and films. I'm James, I'm your host, and alongside me, my glamorous co-host, Cameron. How are you, Cam?
I am living the dream, James. Good to hear from you. Good to see your lovely face. How you doing, mate?
Thank you. Yeah, very good, thank you. Living the dream, or lockdown nightmare as it's come to be.
Yeah, we did lovely lockdown beards. It's coming in nicely.
Yes, of course, yes. Feeling like a homeless Harry Potter over here.
Yeah, well, I'm looking like Fat Thor from Endgame.
Yeah, thank God no one can see us. Okay, so today we're going to be hearing about some of our favourite comedies, comedy moments where we went to the cinema and we just couldn't stop laughing, whether that was a film or something completely different. So let's crack on and hear from Jonathan first of all. Jonathan is our loyalty manager. Jonathan, take it away.
Okay, so there's a lot of scenes I could probably mention from this film, as could everyone else, but Hot Fuzz definitely gets my bones tickling every time, and there's some very, very, very clever humour all over so many times that I have to watch it again and again to really see what I miss, especially all the enormous amounts of foreshadowing that plays out in the film. I think my favourite scene that always I keep coming back to and remembering is the final Summerfield battle scene in the supermarket and the fight between Simon Pegg's character and Lurch, who was played by Rory McCann, I think it was, who was the Hound in Game of Thrones. It's quite interesting putting those two together. And of course, there's a battle off between them, and Simon Pegg overcomes Lurch by having him fall into a freezer in the supermarket. And when that happens, you're just hanging on dearly and waiting for that punchline to come through where he says something like cool off, but he just doesn't. And he moves off, and I instantly feel just like, oh no. And then later on he runs down and finds Nick Frost, and Nick Frost says, oh, how's Lurch? And he says, oh, I've just beaten him, he's in the freezer. And he's like, didn't you say cool off? And he's like, no, I didn't. And he was like, lame. But then he tells him later, Simon says to him, oh, but I did have a scene with him earlier on where I distracted him with a bunny and then said playtime's over and hit him with a peace lily. And he was like, you're off the chain, which is just absolutely brilliant and just a excellent play on all those punchlines we've heard from James Bond and Arnold Schwarzenegger over the years, and it just gets me every time because it's just so funny and just so clever. With that in mind, I'm probably going to watch that tonight actually, so thank you for making me do this.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. That was fantastic. So in depth.
I know, clearly some passion there for Hot Fuzz, and rightly so. What a fantastic film.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're going to be watching it tonight. That's excellent news.
I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen it. It's such a quotable film, isn't it? Like Anchorman levels of quotability.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, genius work from Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
And Edgar Wright, of course, who did the whole trilogy, the Cornetto trilogy, Shaun of the Dead, World's End. Fantastic, all of them.
I love World's End. I know it's normally not a lot of people's favourite of the three, but like you can't watch it without wanting to go out for a drink after. It's such a fun film. I really like it.
I agree. Yeah. And next, so we have Hannah, who is our deputy manager in Bristol. Take it away, Hannah.
My favourite comedies are the ones with a bit of darkness in there, definitely. I am completely obsessed with The Favourite. I've seen it so many times. It's just so absurd, from the duck racing to the absolutely brilliant way that they use language. I completely crack up at the dance scene every single time. I think they got the sort of juxtaposition of full-on period drama and then completely ridiculous fantasy. The balance is just perfect, so it's always a bit of a surprise when something sort of like crazy jumps out there, which just makes it even more funny. Another one of my favourites from a few years ago is The Death of Stalin. Such a great cast. It just feels like a proper British comedy, just so dry and so dark. I think it's pretty incredible how they managed to perfectly kind of illustrate the evil nature of the men in Stalin's close circle and still manage to make you laugh. And then probably my favourite one that I've saw very recently was Sorry to Bother You. This film is absolutely incredible. It's just so bizarre, so out there, and it really just holds up a mirror to society as well, and the issues around poverty and race, which I think is really important. And I really appreciate that with comedy you can kind of be put at ease, but it makes it easier to push the boundaries and make people question things.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Lovely to have some different genres within comedy there, some dark comedies.
Love a dark comedy. She's mentioned some great ones there. Like Death of Stalin it's a work of genius. It really is. Armando he's such a fantastic writer. Have you seen any of other stuff like The Thick of It, which is the BBC show? Fantastic. Oh, and he recently did
David Copperfield.
Yeah,
with Dev Patel. Yeah, that was really good. I really enjoyed that.
That went down really well with everyone coming into the cinema.
With the audiences, absolutely. Yeah. And it was a really good trailer as well. Like I remember when the trailer was coming out, I was just enjoying watching that. I didn't even need to see the film.
And Lord knows we watch trailers over and over and over again, not through choice.
Till they're done to death. And then of course, Sorry to Bother You as well.
Yes,
which was a directorial and writing debut, I think, for Boots Riley. Yep. Coolest Name in the World award goes to Boots Riley.
Boots Riley for president.
Really weird, really dark.
I took a girl to see that on a date, and she thought I was weird. Yeah.
I don't blame her.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil what happens in the film, but if you haven't seen it, definitely give it a watch and let us know what you thought.
Absolutely. Hannah's completely right. Holds up like a mirror to society and some very interesting things to think about. And I think that's what comedy does really well. Mm. It sort of enables that to happen in a much easier way. So next we have Zoo, who is our social media editor. Mm-hmm. Take it away, Zoo.
My choice this week will definitely go to Barb and Star, go to Vista Del Mar. It's a brand new comedy from the guys who did Bridesmaids. It's starring Kirsten Wiig and Annie Malmo as just the best on-screen chemistry duo ever. Features things like a crab voiced by Morgan Freeman. It's got Jamie Dornan, 50 Shades of Grey, Jamie Dornan, singing and ripping his clothes off. It's just mad. It's really good fun to watch right now during lockdown. And I thoroughly recommend it, having it with maybe a drop of alcohol and a very good friend by your side. I hope you're going to enjoy that one.
Thank you very much, Zoo. That was lovely. Yeah, a new release, Cameron. A new release.
I know, a new release, James.
Oh my goodness, what world are we living in?
I know. Yeah, the trailer looks like a lot of fun for Barb and Star. I love Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Wiig. Yes, Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Wiig. Yeah. Sorry, Kristen, if you're listening, which you definitely are.
Yeah, she definitely is listening. She's a big fan of the show.
Absolutely. Big fan of the show that hasn't happened yet.
That hasn't started yet. This is the first episode. Yep. She's a big star. I'm thinking of Barb and Star. It's the guys who did Bridesmaids. and that is hilarious. So I would expect nothing else. Of course, if people aren't interested in it for its comedy, it has got Jamie Dornan in it, of course.
Lovely stuff.
So I'm sure there'll be plenty of people clambering to watch that. For Jamie.
Speaking of 50 Shades, we've actually got a story from Jess, venue manager in Broadgate, about a 50 Shades of Grey screen announcement she did. So yeah, Jess, take it away.
I became a duty manager back in 2015. Back then, managers were the only ones that did screen announcements, so naturally it became a responsibility of mine. Unfortunately, I became a duty manager in February of 2015, which, if you haven't wiped it from your memory, was the release of the first 50 Shades film. Being the new kid on the management team, I was blessed with doing the screen announcement for the opening night of 50 Shades. Might I add, it was my first ever screen announcement. Screen 1, Everyman Walton, 100 people. The lights went up and it was my time to shine. I walked down the aisle, muttering my lines under my breath. I'm not afraid of public speaking, but if you'd been there, you'd be nervous too. Good evening. My voice broke. and sympathetic smiles gazed upon me. Who is this child speaking? I stumbled through the spiel and told everyone if they needed anything, they could grab me. I could have kept going. It was unnoticeable to tell a room full of randy people about to watch an S&M film that they could grab me. Instead, I felt it was poignant that I apologised for saying grab. Not grab, that's probably, if you need me, okay, enjoy the film. They screamed with laughter. Usually I'd be pleased with that, but it wasn't meant to be a joke. Pure, innocent little Jess went bright red and quickly tried to exit the screen. Sadly, if you've ever been to Everyman Walton, you know that you have to walk past every single row to exit. A poor design for these types of mishaps. As the years have gone on, my management skills have improved, and delegating screen announcements is a strong point of mine.
Wow, Jess, that is some bravery, sharing that with us. Jess, I feel
Jess.
for you, absolutely.
I mean, we've all been there, whether it's forgetting what film you're announcing or just forgetting what you're supposed to be saying.
Absolutely.
Completely. But yeah, that's a particularly good one. I enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Do you have any particular stories regarding that camp?
Like, I've got a few. Like, there are a few that have gone down well. Like, I did one for Fight Club, where I came in. I just, like, all right, guys, first rule of Fight Club is no talking during Fight Club. Second rule of Fight Club, and just went on with the rules. And nothing. Absolutely not. Just blank faces in the crowd.
You think such an obvious. I mean, I don't want to give the story away for anyone who hasn't seen it, of course. But clearly, no one had seen it in that screen.
I mean, I hope they hadn't seen it.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
Idiot, but yeah. How about you, mate?
Oh God. I did a screen announcement for Murder on the Orient Express, Poirot film, and and I thought I'd do a impression of Poirot. So I did a French accent, and of course he's Belgium,
famously
Belgian. So it's a fantastic start. And by the end, I had turned my screen announcement into an impression of Antonio Banderas. So somehow I had just sort of morphed my accent, sort of a pan-European screen announcement in the end. And there were lots of laughs at my expense, and I was suitably embarrassed, but I think some people enjoyed it.
Yeah, in your defense, it was a very good Antonio Banderas. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, and I didn't even know I could do an Antonio Banderas.
Exactly.
So there
we're
we
learning.
go.
We're living and learning.
Add it to the repertoire. Okay, so do you have any other sort of moments in the cinema where you had a good laugh?
So I went to see 2001: A Space Odyssey when I was like 10 or 11 with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And
classic comedy.
Classic comedy.
Yeah.
Laugh a minute.
Yeah.
And you got that iconic music right at the beginning, it's just the perfect film music. It's an amazing score, and then it comes up to that crescendo, and then there's just silence, and this one dude 3 rows ahead just goes, "Oh yes!" It's been 15 years, and that still comes to mind every now and then. I love that moment so much.
Oh God, yeah. you got to admire the passion there.
Absolutely, can't blame the guy. How about you, mate?
Yeah, normally you'd be edging to tell someone to shut up, but I think you got to admire the passion. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I remember we were doing a one-off screening a couple of years ago for Monty Python's Life of Brian, one of my favourite Monty Python's, one of my favourite comedies. Full stop, absolutely. And I think because it was so not old, I mean, relatively speaking, it just had all those lines that everyone knew so well. And I walked in to watch the last hour or so, and everyone was just in fits of laughter at every line, because it's that sort of comfortability. They sort of know it so well. They're sort of quoting along with it. It was lovely to see, and everyone had on a paper beard that we provided.
That's a nice touch.
And if you haven't seen the film, watch the film and you'll understand the reference. But that was just really lovely.
If you haven't seen the film, stop what you're doing now. Stop this podcast and go watch it now.
Yeah,
Seriously.
please do. Yeah. No hard feelings. Just leave us. So I think we're coming up to time now, Cam. But I'd like to leave our listeners with some comedy recommendations. Do you have anything in mind for our listeners?
Oh yeah. Recently I watched What We Do in the Shadows. Now this isn't the first time I've seen this film. I could watch it over and over and over again. Yeah, it's written and directed by Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords and Taika Waititi from, I mean, pretty much anything Disney related at the moment. I feel like you name a Disney project and his name's involved somehow. He's so hot right now.
Yeah.
It's just
He's so hard right now.
he's just been riding that wave ever since Thor Ragnarok. But this is one of his earlier films that basically follows three vampires living together in modern times. And yeah, it's just kind of a fly on the wall mockumentary, but it's so funny. They make so many funny moments out of so many mundane, everyday occurrences. And you know, the fact that it's got that supernatural twist to it, it's brilliant. If you haven't watched it, absolutely do. If you have watched it, watch it again.
Please watch it. Yeah, so funny, so clever, and Taika Waititi is just a comic genius.
How about you, mate?
I'd be absolutely remiss if I wasn't to mention a Robin Williams comedy. I think he is an absolute hero of mine. Growing up, he was just an absolute legend, and it was so sad, I think, when he passed away. I think everyone, everyone shed a tear for him, I think. And the film I'm going to mention is The Birdcage, which is basically about him playing a gay cabaret owner and his drag queen companion. They agree to put on a false straight front so that their son can come and introduce their fiance's right-wing parents. And it's like this evening of just utter madness. It's one of those situational comedies that just goes from worst to worst.
Comedy of errors.
Yeah. And it's based on an old French film called La Cage aux Folles, if I'm saying that right.
I mean, it sounds like it's based on a Noel Coward play.
It always has that sort of vibe, doesn't it?
Oh well, I've never heard of that. I'm definitely going to put that in because I love Robin Williams.
Oh, please do. It's so funny, and it's got such a great cast. The partner to Robin Williams is played by Nathan Lane, who most people will know as the voice of Timon in The Lion King.
Oh yeah.
So it's really nice to sort of see him in the flesh. And he's hilarious. The sort of comic cog that everything sort of revolves around. And it's nice to see Robin Williams actually sort of play the straight man, and he does it so well. They sort of bounce off each other, and it's fantastic. I could talk about it forever, and I think I already am. But yeah, I love this film. But yeah, I think that's probably all we have time for after I've waffled on there. We hope you enjoyed yourself. Cam, did you enjoy yourself?
I had a lovely time, James.
Oh, superb. That's lovely to know. Take care, guys. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.